You've landed on the Passive Income Toolbox podcast. Learn how you can generate life-changing passive income that lets you have more fun, have less stress, take more vacations, enjoy more time with friends and family, plus enjoy the freedom of living life on your own terms. Now, here's your host, passive income expert, Dennis J. Smith.
Hey there, welcome back to the Passive Income Toolbox podcast. I'm your host, Dennis J. Smith, and in today's episode, I'm going to teach you how you can publish on Amazon with Amazon Kindle so that you can make passive income by publishing your own book. So, more specifically, books that are published on the Kindle platform. Now, you'll have to forgive me because I have my notes here in front of me, and I want to make sure that I cover everything during this episode, especially if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, because I'm going to walk you through some of the different websites that I've used and that you can use in the process of creating your own book. So I published my first book, How to Promote Your Business or Cause Using Social Media, back in the year 2012. I can't believe how long ago that is now. That was 10 years ago. And I published two books. One is called Udemy Life, and I'll show you how you can get that if you want to see exactly what the finished product looks like there. So the nice thing about self-publishing is that it doesn't have to cost much to write a book. You can use tools like Microsoft Word or Docs, Google Docs. So those are a couple of them that I've used. And I use Microsoft Word for my first book and then Google Doc for the second one. And you can even use your voice and do talk to text to write a book. I've read some books on that, and actually I haven't really tried that yet because it's a way that you could possibly write a book really quick, is just by talking into a microphone and then having the computer translate it into text for you. And then, of course, having to go through and make any corrections because, anytime I use talk to text on my iPhone, I always seem to get something else other than what I said. Most of the time, I get what I said, but not a lot of times. So you can use a service like Fiverr, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. But first of all, we're looking at Kindle Direct Publishing. Now, it wasn't Kindle Direct Publishing when I first started. It was CreateSpace, which was a company that Amazon bought. And the cool thing about CreateSpace is it allowed you to publish a book on Kindle format, but also have a book in what we call publish on demand or print on demand. It means that somebody will order your book and it'll just be printed, one copy of it, and then shipped to the customer from wherever Amazon prints those books. Now you can also buy several of the books like I did, and I'll tell you in a few exactly why I did that. First of all, you can use a book like Fiverr so that somebody can either edit your book or create a cover for your book. And here I just did a search for book cover and came up with a lot of different possibilities and prices. So it doesn't have to cost a lot. I mean, you can see some of these are, professional looking. So this might be the route that you might want to go and spend a little more money when it comes to publishing a book so that you get a good cover so that when somebody is scrolling through Amazon and looking for Kindle books on whatever subject it might be, that they'll see your book cover and look at it further and possibly even buy it. And you can create your own. There are ways that you can do that. I'll show you a website that I found that creates 3D images of book covers, and it's pretty cool what it does. You'll also want a tool like Grammarly so that you can catch any mistakes that you make along the way as you go. Now, I would go through my own books like a couple of times, read it, fix the errors, look at the errors that Microsoft Word was showing me that were mistakes and correcting it. And then maybe having a second eye look at it. And then on my second book, I actually hired a friend of mine to have her look at it and correct my grammar. You want to make sure that you correct the grammar, because if you want to be taken as a serious author, or you want to be taken seriously in your subject matter that you're an expert in, then you want to make sure that the grammar looks good. As far as book covers, when it comes to covers for self-published books, just make sure that you find something that jumps out, and again, like making sure that it's professional looking. I found an image that I used for my first book, Promote Your Business at Cause. I found it online. It was something that I could use multiple times, because a lot of these images might be copyrighted. So you'll just want to make sure that you have permission to use that cover more than once, or that image that you're using for your cover more than once. I also did the same for my second book, and I did that because I have the tools available to create the covers myself. And I looked on sites like Pixabay and Pexels and found an image that would work for my second book. But if you're new, I recommend that you search on a site like Fiverr.com, and there's other sites out there, and you can search Google for book covers so that you can find your perfect book cover for your self-published book. This is a site that I found called DIYbookcovers.com. And if I'm looking up, that's because I'm looking on my screen here so that I can give you the correct URL. This is what's called a 3D mockup. So when you go to the website, this is the homepage, and they have lots of services like book marketing, publishing, book design. So this is a website where they can help you with self-publishing. If you want to put a little more money into it, you can certainly do that and have somebody help you out with creating a book that might sell better, if somebody else is doing the marketing for you. You've got this mock-up and then the cover maker on here. I use the mock-ups. It's pretty cool. So you can either do single, and you can see that there's some mock-ups of devices like a Kindle or a phone, an iPhone or an iPad or a book cover that can make it look pretty real and make it stand out on your website. So like you can see here, click next, and then I want to browse. Let's just take this background right here and we'll use that. So I'll upload it. It's not going to have any text, but I want to show you what this does. So you want to make sure it looks good on the layout right here. And then if you click on next right there, you get the choice of choosing a PNG or a JPEG for the image that you're going to use for your download. So I'm going to check PNG, and it's going to take a moment. And I don't know if you'll be able to see this because of the way that this is recording. Let me just double check. Let me go back here to StreamYard. Yeah, it popped up, and I can see that you're not able to see it, but I will, on the website, I will include some stuff on the website when I share this episode of the podcast, so that you can see kind of what it looks like after you send it through this DIY do-it-yourself book design. All right. So let me go here and take a look here. So just want to remind myself. So the other thing too is you can search for groups on Facebook, and I pulled up a couple of them here. This is KDP Authors and Low Content Book Creation Help by Self-Publishers Titans. There's all kinds of these groups on Facebook that you can find that are other people like yourself that are just publishing for the first time. And so they're looking for others who might have already published or might be publishing, so that they can get information from, like other people, like what they've done. This is like one of the cool things about Facebook groups, is that you might live out there in the middle of middle of nowhere in somewhere. So like I'm in Idaho. I'm in a town that's near Boise that's 60,000. So I've already in the past I've met up with other local authors here in the Boise area where I live, and I sold my book at various events. But you might not have that option. So a group like this is a group where you can find out how you might market it or something like that. But this is something that I'll talk about in another episode of the podcast. I haven't done it myself, but I've read up on it. And I've got some books that are available on passiveincometoolbox.com that shows you how to do it. It's basically the ability to publish things like a journal or maybe an adult coloring book, just a planner. I've seen some people who have done that. I had a friend, she made her own planner for her business and was able to publish it on Amazon and sell it, like I think like $40 or $50. But I mean, prices, like probably vary for stuff like that. I mean, there's different ways that you can do that. When I was marketing my book, I was able to get invited to events, and I also held classes around social media marketing, which was what my first book was about. So I was able to sell tickets to the event and also sell my book at the event. I mean, over the course of time, I was able to sell over 1,000 copies of the book and also a lot of free downloads of the book because I wanted to build my email list. I chose to go with Amazon when the book was done because I could use Kindle for the digital version, and then CreateSpace, which is now Kindle Direct Publishing, which I showed you a little bit earlier there, to print copies for your local bookstore signing event. So that's what I did, is I ordered like 20 or 30 copies of the book at a discounted price. The more you ordered, the less that they would be, so that I could go into these book signing events that were being held in the Boise area pre-COVID-19 and be able to sell that and sign the book. And people like that. I was at one book event in Twin Falls, Idaho, and I was invited to speak about social media and sold quite a few of the books at that event. And plus, I was interviewed by the local news there in Twin Falls, Idaho. A book is a good way to let other people know that you're a subject matter expert. You're an expert at whatever you're teaching. I mean, you don't have to be like an expert that is like the top expert or anything like that to know something about a subject. You just need to be like somebody who knows more than other people. So, like myself, like talking to you now about this because I published a few books, but I'm not like a Stephen King or anything like that. I don't have like a publishing house or anything like that. A lot of people who publish on Kindle don't have a publisher. They do self publishing and they do fairly well in that category. You can order these books from CreateSpace and then host local events. Now that we're kind of coming around or turning the corner in COVID, and possibly by the time that you teach that, COVID might not be an issue for holding these events in public again, so that you can meet other people who might be interested in what you've written about. So most younger generations are reading digital versions of their book on mobile devices in today's busy world. Mostly people who are in my generation and above are those who are still reading your traditional books in paperback or hardback. And I have some of those. And every now and then I'll order something in hardback or paperback, But mostly like what I download is on Kindle because I like to be able to take my iPad or my phone and use the Kindle app to read books. I can hold a lot of different books on my iPad versus the books that I have over here on my bookshelf. And when I used to move, I remember how heavy it was to move books and CDs. So that's kind of like why I've moved to digital versions of books and music. So I prefer to listen to books on Audible too, as I drive around here in the Boise area, or if I take a road trip. If I'm driving somewhere, for a long period of time, then I can listen to a book on Audible. And you can take these books, and there is software out there, and there are people on Fiverr. And I'll talk about that in another episode of the podcast, how you can actually take these books and you can have them changed to audio without actually having a human do it for you. There's software out there that sounds pretty close to the real thing. And I'll talk about that because that's a way for you to do audiobooks and be able to save money. Plus, there's a way that you can take public domain books that aren't copyrighted anymore and turn those into audiobooks and make money off of that too. We'll talk about that in another episode of the podcast. When it comes to marketing your self-published book, it's best to build an audience of followers. And you can do that through an email list, and you can use tools like I do, which are ConvertKit and ClickFunnels. And as I talked about in the intro episode of the podcast, both of those companies are based here in the Boise area. And I used to work for ClickFunnels, and that's why I think it's a great tool for not only for people who are authors and doing self-publishing, but the software has many things that it can do. You can start off with the free version of ConvertKit, and you can get a 14-day trial of ClickFunnels Basic, but it's only $97 a month. And $97, I believe, is worth it if you can sell enough books and you can build like your self-publishing empire. If you want to do something like that, you want to start off with something that's simple, like maybe offering a chapter of your book or a free version of your book in exchange for an email address. So like right now, my Udemy Life book is something that I wrote several years ago, but it has like a lot of great information from individuals who are still teaching courses on Udemy, like my friend Phil Ebner, who is like one of the top instructors on Udemy and is earning thousands and thousands of dollars a month in the courses that he's published there on Udemy. And he's also written a few books. And so he has an extensive email list that he can utilize to let students know when he's come out with something new, either a new book or courses. He focuses more on courses, even though he's got like a few books out there. Let's go ahead and we'll move forward. So here's Udemy Life, and this is what it looks like on Amazon.com. And you can see the cover of the book, and then you can see a sample of the book, which in the beginning, I have like all of the ways that somebody can contact me, even though Google Plus is no more. But Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, even if somebody doesn't buy the book, they still have links right here to me on Amazon. This is my first book right here. This is Promote Your Business or Cause Using Social Media. Here's the image that I found that I use, just like little chat bubbles and stuff like that. And then I use software to design this, and I put the black background right here. I revised the book a couple of times, but I really haven't done much with it since then because I've gone on to other stuff, even though there's information in here that's still going to be current, but then like, the screenshots are going to look different because Facebook, Twitter, and all of those places have changed since then. You can see, like the ratings are right here. And if you want, if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can download a free copy of the book or paperback. I don't think that anybody has bought this on paperback in a long time, but that's, again, I'm not really pushing this. And 2013 was a long time ago. This is ClickFunnels right here. And so this is how, like what I was talking about, that if you want to market a chapter of your book or give out a free version of your book, then you can use like funnel building software like ClickFunnels, like I do, to be able to create a page where somebody can enter their email address, and then with it automated with ConvertKit, that they would be able to get the book and then read the book and then maybe check you out, like what else you do. This has got links to my website. And matter of fact, it's found on my website here by going to dennisjsmith.com/free book. And it's linked from just the main website, just says free book. If somebody were to click on this, then they would get this and they would see this is an actual review from Amazon from somebody named Ronald. I didn't use their real photo there, but this is their real review. And then it talks about like what they'll discover in the book. Like the Pulse of Udemy is something that I did by doing a survey of these instructors, these 20 instructors that I talked to, and some of them I remain friends with to this very day. Instructor advice. So these instructors have given advice for people who are currently instructors or might want to be an instructor on what they've done on Udemy to be successful. And then here's myself. This is a little outdated here because I've actually had courses on Udemy longer than that. I haven't added like any new courses in a long time. And that's because I've been busy like working for ClickFunnels and then kind of doing my own thing with affiliate marketing. And that's really kind of where I put my focus. But I have marketing courses there on Udemy. And then it has here that you're just one step away from your Udemy life. I actually got the idea for the book when I was coming back from a road trip on one of my favorite places outside of Boise, about 6 hours, is Bend, Oregon. It's in Central Oregon. And I was driving back and I was listening to a podcast on passive income. And I just came up with the idea that with Udemy, if you were to just teach online courses on a topic that you're really good on, then potentially you have the potential to earn enough passive income to change your life, to leave your 9-to-5 job. A lot of these things that I'll be teaching during the podcast do give you the ability to consider leaving a 9-to-5 job. Or it could just be something for you to pay your bills so that there's less stress if you have a job where you're living paycheck to paycheck. Then something like adding some courses or writing a book or doing affiliate marketing can have a huge impact on your life. I see a lot of people on Facebook that are struggling, especially like in this area. And I just wish I could reach out to them and say, hey, do you have something that you're passionate about that you can teach? Or, here's how you can do affiliate marketing to make an extra extra $200 a month, to put food on the table, to pay credit card bills, to put gas in the car, that type of stuff with passive income. When you're finished, like, I'm going to go back to backtrack a little bit about finishing your book. You take the document and you upload it to KDP by signing in, uploading the document, and then it will get translated into the Kindle format. It doesn't take that long. Like once you have the cover, the right size and all of that, and you upload it and you put your price that you want to sell the book for, then it doesn't take that long before it's live and you can start promoting it and making money off of it too. So that's the cool thing about publishing on Kindle, is it's something that's pretty instantaneous. There are lots of courses out there. So I know that I'm going over some of the basic stuff here. This wasn't meant to be like a full course on how to publish. It was meant to be a podcast episode, which it is, to kind of get you excited about learning about publishing a book using Kindle format through KDP on Amazon. So there are courses about stuff that I've covered. I'm going to leave some great courses for you from Udemy, from people that I know that teach about this stuff. So it'll go through everything about writing a book for self-publishing and marketing that book so that you can start making passive income too. So that's going to be in the show notes as well as links and everything else so that you can get started on making your own masterpiece. You can listen to the audio version of the podcast on your favorite podcasting app, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Pandora, and more. Make sure that you follow the show on whatever the app is that's your favorite, and then subscribe to Passive Income Toolbox on Udemy. Look for the links and the show notes there below the video or on the website, passiveincometoolbox.com. And if you want to know more about like what we've talked about, or making journals through Amazon, the planners that I was talking about, then you can sign up by heading on over to passiveincometoolbox.com. Again, that's passiveincometoolbox.com. And you can sign up either for a monthly membership or a lifetime membership. And then you'll have access to books that are available and courses that are available that will teach you how to do not only publishing your own book, but also how to do online courses or host a podcast or anything like this where you can make passive income that'll change your life too. Thanks a lot for listening, and don't forget to reach out to me if you have any questions, or leave some comments on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts if you enjoy the podcast episode. And I will be releasing a new episode within about a week. So make sure that you hit the like button and the bell on YouTube so that you get notification when podcast episodes and tutorials for the Passive Income Toolbox are available. Hey, thanks so much for watching and listening. Appreciate it, and I hope this makes an impact on your life.
Thanks for listening to the Passive Income Toolbox podcast with your host, Dennis J. Smith. If you like this episode, please take the time to leave a review, share the episode with others, and subscribe to our newsletter. If there's anything we can do to help, reach out at www.passiveincometoolbox.com. Look for us on social media for more helpful passive income information and resources. Thanks again for listening, and make it a great day.